Welcome to my channel. This channel is going to be dedicated to my recovery from arm surgery. I broke my humerus right here from arm wrestling. So I'm going to get into all of that. I have a lot of advice for beginners and just my experience overall in the last 6 months. A lot has happened. So I'm not good at all of this recording video and putting it on the internet stuff, but I'm trying. Because I have some things that need to be said. So, I am 35 years old. Oh, sorry, I'm 36 years old. I just turned 36 Cinco de Mayo. So, I know we're all in the same boat together. So, anywho, I've been doing a small set of workouts to start recovering from my downtime from not only COVID, but now this broken arm. I just had it surgically repaired 3 days ago, well, about 4 now, but first practice in over a month through the quarantine, and I walk in, I feel really good, really strong, and feels like it on the table too. I'm going to get into some of the bad things that this shouldn't have happened. This turned out to be a very devastating injury through my own idiocy. So, let's start at the beginning. I practice with the wrecking crew. This video is going to really test my editing skills, so I'm not here to throw anybody under the bus. There's nothing to be thrown under the bus. So, I broke my humerus. It's basically a common injury. It was in a certain position. So, this usually happens to beginners and women. And I personally consider myself an experienced beginner pro. I know this sounds weird, but when I tell you the whole story, you'll understand. My perspective, at least. So, there I am, arm wrestling a couple of gentlemen that I have arm wrestled quite a bit before, one in particular, and I felt great. Everything was strong, both arms, there's no hitch in my game. So, move on to my other buddy, who happens to be about probably 40 to 50 pounds bigger than me in muscle and 5 years more experience. At this moment in time, I have 5 months experience in the professional ring. So I started as amateur back in October. My very first tournament, October 14th, I believe, with Wisconsin Arm Wrestling. I just went for it. I was 35 at the time, and my experience with arm wrestling was quite substantial, just nothing in the professional ring. Now, 2 years ago, I got the real itch, the real burn that is arm wrestling in my soul, and had made me pursue it to the level I am now. But, rewind 2 years ago to a bar that I used to hang out at, and in comes a wrist wrestling tournament. Didn't really know about it. So, talked to the man that runs it, and jumped right in. And long story short, I got second place overall. My very first tournament ever in wrist wrestling. And the only person to beat me was substantially bigger than me and much more experienced. So I've gone my whole life being pretty much stronger than everybody I've faced in arm wrestling. That guy, the bar that can take anybody, whatever. Well, that's just always been me too. Just never in a competitive setting. I have beaten 30 guys in a row in a bar with just what I know stock. And at this point, I now know how little I knew then. So, I don't want to ramble. I want to stay pointful in my videos. So this is more of just an introduction. I'd love to get into more specific details, and hopefully this takes off and you have questions, because I've accomplished some pretty serious milestones in just the 6 months I've been arm wrestling at this level. Because I'm telling you, I pursued hard, and I would have continued pursuing hard if COVID hadn't kicked our butts. So it is what it is, and I pushed myself too far, too fast. And even though I felt comfortable in the position we were in, that second gentleman was just a wall. And honestly, it felt like high-fiving a school bus going 55. So, but this is also the same man who taught me how to inside arm wrestle, which is a hooking style, which I am more of an outside arm wrestler. I'll pull you down and top roll you. So adding more tools to my toolbox is what you have to do in this game to be anything. You know, there's the outliers that rely on just side pressure, but it isn't just side pressure. There's so many factors involved. And as a beginning arm wrestler, that is a path that I see, a path that's for me. I get criticized quite frequently about, I get accused of not being humble, of all things. When I love arm wrestling so much that anybody who's interested, I pull in and I try to teach them the safest ways to arm wrestle to keep them out of trouble so that they don't have a devastating injury like this. And then they lose their passion for it, even grew into anything. So I know that I'm going to pursue this to the end. There's no reason not to. There's plenty of people who have been in my position at my age, yada yada, that are super amazing. I'm not going to mention any names, but the elite gentlemen in our sport, which is a sport, by the way, you know, just because it's not in your face like the NFL doesn't mean it's not amazing. It's something just about anybody can do, and you can get good at it pretty quickly if you dedicate. You might even come stock with genetic abilities that you didn't even know you had until you put your hand on the table and you go and learn as you go. My first tournament ever, signed up for amateur, both arms, 90 kilograms, jump in and beat my guy right away, win. I was like, all right, cool. And then they put me in the pro class at 100 kilograms and some very high level people there too. I won one match out of the 4 guys I faced, but still, to me that was a positive result. And every subsequent tournament thereafter, I placed top 3. You know, maybe not overall, but I was winning my class and starting to beat people who were beating me. Because, you know, I'm on the table with anybody. I don't care. I need that to hook up and see what you got, see what I can absorb. You know, I know we are all looking at these videos of all these extreme gentlemen in our sport that are just heroes to me, what they're able to accomplish. So I'm ready to get up there too. And the wild card in this video series is my daughter. My 10-year-old daughter is a genetic champion already. And she's been to almost as many tournaments as me and has been first place every time. There's a couple of exceptions, but she's just starting out. She's beating grown women. Some. I'm just saying, a 10-year-old. She's truly amazing. And I want to build her in this sport too. I want her to be the youngest elite world champion there's ever been. And then build a career off of that. You know, she has just this amazing strength inside of her. And she's built like a tank. I love her to death, and I want her to succeed, to have a foundation, some legs to stand on. You know, so arm wrestling is more of a brotherhood, sisterhood, whatever you want to call it, than just some sport. Sure, it all boils down to 1 versus 1 on the table, but all of the amazing people that are in this sport that just, you come into it open arms, and they just want to pull you. They want to show you what they got. They want to teach you. I've learned so much in such a short amount of time because I have committed to this path so deeply that I got a year's worth of arm wrestling within 6 months and hit milestones I shouldn't hit for years. Sure, I'm paying for this, but in all honesty, that I put myself in a bad position, plain and simple, and I didn't even feel it coming. Outside arm wrestling, I was doing just fine, felt comfortable, and then when we moved to the inside hook, put pressure on it, it snapped. Felt like a shotgun went off in my head. And like I said, high five in a school bus at 55. And it didn't turn out well. You know, I'm dealing with obviously a different arm, basically. And this is my primary arm. I'm left-handed. And I have total nerve damage. There's no up pressure. So that is a thing that could happen to you. We can hope to prevent it through keeping you out of obvious, unsafe situations. Because the last thing you want is a new guy to come in and give it their all and love it, and then snap. And now their life is kind of ruined for a good minute. And what if you depend on that arm literally for your survival, for working, for supporting your family, and you've just taken yourself out of the game entirely for a good minute? Because I had surgery, and I had to wait 13 days from the moment it happened to get it done. And there's other circumstances that I'll explain in another video, but long story short, I don't know if she's going to recover. So I'm going to put everything I've got into this one right here and be ready to put my arm on the table in a month or two. I hope. Maybe sooner. I don't know. Because I feel like I can isolate this arm from this arm and just touch the peg to be legal. And I'm not even talking tournaments, just practice. I need to get back into practice because that is my primary way of working out. You know, you gather your technique, you work on weaknesses and strengths, and you're pulling so hard, you're giving her, and it's an intense workout of the muscles and joints and bones that you're utilizing on the table in reality. Something you can't get from weights. You know, love weights, all that stuff, and right now all I've got is some resistance bands and a squeezer to help me start recovering. So, what the point is that I'm dedicated to recovering, and so should you. So hopefully you can stay in the game, but there's plenty of people who break their arms in the sport. It's just kind of a thing. You watch NASCAR, you know, there's going to be a crash. Duh, right? Well, that happened to me. So, stick with me. This could get interesting, because I'm planning on expanding this to having guests and workouts and just all kinds of fun stuff. Things I do with my daughter a lot, and I'm going to make a go of it. Because I want people to be able to see that it's possible to come back from some shit like this to getting back with this. You know, I've got a lot of improvement I can do, and a lot of that is lifestyle. I change that, and everything will change. So there's just many paths to the main goal in the sky for me. So this is a setback, but I've already taught my right hand how to write and do all the things that the left used to do for me, because, you know, I'm left-handed. Thankfully, I came stocked with a high percentage of being ambidextrous, but I could never write with this hand. So all of this is coming straight out of my head. I'm not writing anything down. I know I'm rambling, and you probably skipped by now. So I'm going to go ahead and end it with that. Please like and subscribe so that I can maybe keep this going. You know, this is all off my smartphone. You're seeing the low-level startup. So have a nice day. Stick with it. Come join us.